throw a cube in, and I want to show you guys a neat little trick here you can do. And you can change this if you don't like it, but I'm just going to make cuts, reset the default values, which I actually learned how to do this way better, so you don't have to click it. And I will get back to fixing this add-on up. And I know I say that at the end of my tutorial as well, but you get to hear it again. And so I'm going to bake that out, and we'll see what we get. And then I'm going to show you something here. All right. So now that that's baked, it doesn't matter necessarily how good it looks. I'm not going to try to change it. Wow, that one really fractured up good. If you go over into this view, okay, there is a little hidden gem on here, and you can actually create a really neat little strobe effect. I forgot to mention that when I first put this add-on out, but the individual cracks, like if that's one whole piece, it's going to have a glow effect on it. So it'll actually strobe depending on how you do it. So if I delete that bake, which you can do that right here in the add-on, and always give it a second. It's simulation baking, so it's going to do what it does. Let me just change this a touch. I think that's going to be good. Make sure I turned off that noise type there. Yeah, there we go. That's what was messing it up. Now I'll bake this out. And if you add any subdivisions to this, just be prepared for it to go so much slower. And once this bakes out, I'm kind of excited to see how it's going to look, because this is kind of a fun add-on, really. And there we go. So this one gets a nice little strobe effect, so you can actually do keyframes with this. If you want, you can go into the geo nodes, and you can see what is going on, and you'll be able to grab the material. I can figure out where I put it. Yeah, so here we go. Right at the end, you'll get the set material, and by selection, the random mesh islands is what is powering that, and that's like super fun. You can play around with that. You can disconnect it, do whatever you want, but in order to change that, you do have to go into geometry nodes to do so. If you want to add something new, you can, and then you can just change that. And surprisingly, I didn't add that over here. This is like one of my first or second add-ons. You have to forgive me, but I will export said material property output on the next version of this. I plan on coming out with like a 2.1 or something, or maybe you just call it 3.0, but I'm going to do some neat upgrades to it. So I got some plans for this add-on, because a lot of people actually picked it up. But there you go. There's one more trick for you if you want to have some fun with it and create some neat strobe effects in the background or something. Here is a use case for Cracks 2.0. I'm going to grab a quad sphere, and what we're going to do is just add any one of these buttons for damage. I can add wood, whatever, jump into vertex, grab a circle select, lasso select, whatever you want. I'm just going to color that in, add a new group, and assign that group to the active modifier. And I'll make sure to click assign vgroup, so when I come back into object mode, you'll see the damage is now going to be isolated right there, which is perfect. So now I want to add anything, a Voronoi, whatever, and I'm going to come over here and search and invert that selection. And so now that's good, and I'm going to create a new vertex group, and as long as I've got this new modifier selected, which is by default, then when I select group 01, it will go in there automatically. Then I'll click assign vgroup. Let's make sure you do that. Now what's going to happen is I'll add a subsurf to the bottom of this, and then you'll have the crush it texture 08 here, and then 07. And so you'll be able to change these and change the patterns, and then, if you will, isolate the damage in that one area. And that's going to be, I think, pretty helpful. You want to make something a little more abstract, and you can compound this and continue to add that and add subsurf levels, whatever you want. It doesn't seem to lag. because this is just using modifiers in the modifier stack, kind of neatly packed into an add-on. And if you have a bunch of groups in here, all you have to do is hit this button and it's going to remove all the vertex groups, clean them up. So we can go ahead and add something else on here. I'll throw a Voronoi texture and you get your scale, you get all this fun stuff you can kind of play around with. And here I'm going to add a new V group, and it's pretty easy to do. I don't know if you know this trick, but you can just hit L over the mesh portion, like the little separated portion here. And we can do is assign the V group here. And now it's going to actually load once I do that. There we go. So now I've just got the Voronoi texture on the eye, which you can do a lot with that. Working with your meshes. But anyways, just a quick tutorial, everybody, to show you what you can do with this add-on. There's a whole lot more as well. And if you were to like throw out all of that and just go with any object, and this works best with hard surface model types, I'm going to just click make cuts and reset the default values. Make sure I've got my timeline here. And I'm going to turn off this noise type. And if you do that, it just kind of makes the simulation work. And then if you scroll all the way to the bottom, you will be able to bake this if you save it. So I'm just going to go to my trash folder here, save this as blah, blah, blah. And then this bake simulation will come alive for you. And you'll be able to bake this out. It's preset to 30 frames because that is what you kind of need, but you'll have the frames. You can change them right here, so you can do whatever you want. Doesn't take too long to bake, as you can see. It's doing pretty good. And once that is baked, you can then scrub through your timeline and check out the different types of cracks. And if you don't like that, hit shift left arrow, go back, change your noise, change a few settings, maybe the offset, whatever you want. Resolution of the cuts starts out at 50. If you go higher, it will slow down the PC significantly, so just kind of be careful with that. You are able to rotate the cut here if you're on frame 1, if you don't want the cut right there. And then I'm going to go ahead and rebake. And it'll give me some kind of variance in here. It's like endless options. It's kind of a pain, but that's why you've got the scrub through option here with the simulation. Once you've baked it, you get a nice solid fracture, if you will. You got a good sim here. And this one came out kind of perfect. I like that. And if you like what you got, you can then apply that. So I select here, you can apply that. You can separate that into loose parts. Then you can throw some physics on there. I never got any further adding anything else with the add-on, but this gives you a lot to do, a good starting point, if you will, so you don't have to do a whole lot more. But that's good. You know, you can check it out, add damage, add cracks, have fun. It's a pretty powerful add-on. I will get back around to modifying it since I've learned a lot since I made this add-on. It's just more of a fun thing. And I'll see you guys in the next tutorial. Smash that subscribe, smash that like, go check out Patreon. You can join it absolutely free. You will get at least one add-on a month. If you bump up your subscription, you will get a lot more. I've got a lot of add-ons on there, and I've got some add-ons that will not be on Gumroad and Blender Market. But there'll always be some good bonuses in there, so you want to jump in and see what's going on. See you guys.